The Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson is often praised for its extensive world building, its unique and interesting magic system, and its character work. In each of the 3 main novels currently out, we get character backstories through the use of flashbacks, which is an element of writing that is often considered a crutch for new writers, but many feel is masterfully executed in the Stormlight Archive. Without going into spoilers, I wanted to provide you with a character examination of Shallan Davar, one of the main protagonists in the Stormlight Archive series. And while we're doing this, I wanted you to get a time-lapse of some artwork that I've done for the character. At the end of the video, I'll be giving recognition to some other artists who've illustrated Shallan also, so be sure to check those artists out as well. Since we have a visual aid here, we'll start out by going over Shallan's appearance. Shallan is described in the books as having blue eyes, fair skin with freckles, and long red hair that she generally wears unbound down her back. Her appearance is quite different from that of the traditional characteristics people consider beautiful in their culture, as slightly darker skin is usually thought to be more attractive, and red hair isn't all that common. Her light blue eyes, however, do play a role in her status. Light eyes are the ruling classes in places like Yakaved in their world, which is where Shallan is from. When we're first introduced to Shallan, we know she comes from a fairly well-off background and family, though the extent of her family's well-being is questionable, and it's hinted that Shallan may have ulterior motives when she seeks tutelage from a prominent figure named Yesna Kholin. Despite the sincerity of Shallan's intentions, she does have a curious and eager mind. She's very interested in being a scholar, and her passion to learn is so strong that it occasionally overrides common sense. This can at times lead Shallan into difficult or dangerous situations, and given that she doesn't have a warrior's background, she often has to rely on wit to get her out of trouble. Because of her social status, her behavior isn't always considered proper, and rather than embracing this wholeheartedly, Shallan does at times find herself embarrassed and even unfeminine, as such behavior isn't always associated with women. One such feminine tradition she does adhere to would be that of covering her left hand, or her safe hand, which is a common practice in their world. To go about with one's safe hand uncovered is considered extremely risque, something Shallan very much is not. The covering of her safe hand has little to no effect on Shallan's ability to draw, which is a skill noted as being extremely admirable and impressive, and may set Shallan apart in more ways than just talent and capabilities. Further explanation into that would be going into spoilers though, so just know that it gets pretty awesome. Shallan's backstory is explored in the second Stormlight Archive book, Words of Radiance, which provides us insight on much of her personality, motivations, and secrets. I'll admit that Shallan wasn't my absolute favorite character in Way of Kings, which is the first book in the series. Due to her scholarly nature, we often find her being used as a vessel to learn more about the world, which is helpful and interesting, but didn't necessarily make me that connected to her. Her backstory, I feel, remedies this, and certainly displays that there's often more to someone than meets the eye. Stormlight Archive is a multiple point of view story, and the parallels between the reader's relationship to Shallan and the other characters' relationships with her is a really realistic and fascinating portrayal. It makes you feel that there's much more to this character, you feel protective of her, and you find that you'll be more emotional or even frustrated when you see her making decisions you know aren't good for her mental health and well-being. Shallan isn't necessarily a character most would categorize as awesome and heroic, but she is incredibly compelling and is someone who is likely to instill a more empathetic spirit. You feel for her, you want the best for her, but you also see her flaws and her unhealthy and unsafe decision-making. If you love complex and layered characters, Shallan is very much that. I personally don't know if I've come across too many other characters as complex as her, which, to repeat myself from before, isn't all that obvious when we first meet her in Way of Kings, but becomes more and more evident as the story goes on. That's it for my character examination, my non-spoiler examination of Shallan. I hope you enjoyed this time-lapse and the artwork of her character. Now I want to get into giving some recognition and giving some shout-outs to some other really amazing artists that have also portrayed her. First up, we have this amazing artwork, which shows Shallan in the middle, as well as how Shallan imagines herself in different situations to the left of her and to the right of her. For those that have read all of Shallan's story, probably freaking out just as much as me because this artwork is so cool. This artist has other Cosmere art as well, along with character art from other popular fantasy books, so definitely check them out. On a similar vein, we have this wonderful depiction of Shallan, and similar to the last, you can see her characteristics personified in the characters on either side of her. I find that this artist has a lovely style that is sweet and simple, yet also detailed and intricate as well. They also have tons and tons of Cosmere art, and if you can think of a popular fantasy character, they've likely already drawn them. Next, we have Shallan looking curious, as she often is, with a sketch pad in front of her. What I love about this artwork, and kind of secretly hate a little bit too about this art, is that the drawings in the drawing are also amazing. I can't really say what I depicted her drawing in mine, as it's a bit of a spoiler, but in this one, it's just a person, and it looks so fantastic. And then the background in this one is also extremely well done and gives us a look into the landscape of Stormlight Archive. And also, I have to mention the lighting, because the lighting is incredible and it needs to be mentioned. The next Shallan piece shows a specific scene from one of the books. Not only is the artwork stunning, but the artist manages to capture Shallan's inquisitive nature all while not showing her face. And on top of all of that, you know this is Shallan, even if you might have forgotten that scene, which I think is really incredible, given the fact that, again, you can't see her face. Lastly, we have this piece of art with Shallan and another character named Kaladin. This shot perfectly captures a scene from the books, in my opinion, including the tone and the mood of that scene. It's a perfect example of the there's more beneath the surface thing that I was talking about with Shallan earlier. Plus, it's so gorgeous. I just want to look at it all the time. It's just so pretty, darn it. All of these artists are incredibly talented, obviously, and also very, very nice. I've messaged each of them at some point to ask if I could share their artwork with all of you, and every interaction I've had with them has been wonderful. Definitely check them out. I'll have all of them linked down below. This is going to be an ongoing series on my channel, so be on the lookout for more of my What Should I Draw Next videos, where you get to vote on who I draw next. Pretty self-explanatory. Patrons will get sneak peeks and additional art picks each month, so I'll have my Patreon linked down below for anyone who's interested in that. Feel free to link your personal favorite Shallan art, and if you'd like to see more Sanderson content, I'll have my playlist linked over on the right. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.